Welcome! This is Naoki's garden. Do what you want.
It's not a book that lends itself to a kind of conventional theatrical production. It's not a conventional story in any sense. The book's structured as a series of questions and answers about autism, and specifically about the author Naoki Higashida, about his experience of being autistic.
Naoki was 13 when he wrote this book. Question 23. What's the worst thing about having autism?
He thinks that the world of autism must be this mysterious and puzzling place for those who are on the outside, because people who aren't autistic have a lot of questions.
So we had this idea of constructing a maze which would guide the audience around this site, and that during that journey around the site, they would encounter the performers from the show. And the performers from the show, pretty straightforwardly actually, tell you a bit about themselves, a bit about their experiences of having autism, and some material from the book.
Whoa! God! I better be on my best behaviour.
And you know, we've designed it as this journey which we're asking the audience to take, a kind of physical journey through this maze, as well as a journey of learning, of discovery with the performers you meet here.
For me, autism is like a crack in stone. It's like a crack in a pebble. You know it's one that's there. You know it's never going to change. It's never going to go away.
It took about 4 months for me to get my diagnosis from January to April in 2001. I said, well, what happens next? And he says, nothing. And then he says, keep it to yourself. Why?
Some people ask me 1 or 2 questions, and then they go, oh, you seem fine, Emma. And then they move on, and I never hear from them again. I think they assume that autistic people like to be alone. But we don't want to be lonely. We just need our time and space.
So what are you waiting for?
I think what Naoki is really trying to say is that we autistic people are no different to anyone else, except that we autistic people are much better human beings than you average people.
My mum's pretty much described me as an ambassador for autism, and now that I've taken part in this project, I think that knowledge has hit even harder for me. I mean, I'm autistic and this is what I can do.
Even when I say in my monologue, wouldn't it be great if Naoki was right and we are here to save the earth? Sometimes I feel so tempted that I want to say we wouldn't need the Avengers because we are them.
Hopefully, through this show, if people are happy to ask questions, we can answer as best we can, because autistic people are essentially the best experts you can find. That we all have different opinions in that, but you know, there's a lot of opinions, there's a lot of autistic people, and we're happy to share it.
They call it a spectrum, and with good reason, because it really can be so different for so many different people, and kind of learning about that and finding a way to represent that within the show has been, yeah, it's been amazing for me actually. It has definitely been a kind of life lesson as well as an artistic lesson.
It's coming through that process and realizing it'll be okay. And we're going to have a decent show here. I think that's what's exciting.
I mean, I started acting when I was 20, and that was totally by accident.
Being able able to communicate is so important, isn't it? Of course, it's easier for some than others.
I never thought I'd ever do a show of the NTS. I thought that was, you know, it was just totally out of my reach, because I've not really had any professional training. So to actually be a part of an NTS show and be a major factor of its creation, it is mind-blowing.
That feels amazing, really. But looking back at it now, yes, about what I've accomplished and how much effort we all put into it. Yes, it just goes to show that theatre is important to children.
I think we are also learning stuff about ourselves as well, like the stuff that we wouldn't usually voice to other people. I mean, until I had my interview with Graham to say about some of my experiences, like doing the special needs judo and going out for bike rides with my dad and that, it was like those experiences I would keep to myself.
Sometimes I go to a quiet place to get lost in my thoughts. I usually do it in my room, the car, or anywhere that's a quiet place, or a park with no one around me at all. Labyrinths are good places to get lost in your thoughts.
Although he wasn't speaking, he was so engaged and he was giving them eye contact and he was motivated and he was just amazing, weren't you? Everybody was so impressed and you've just loved every second of it, haven't you? Meeting everyone, working with, it's been an amazing experience for him and for us.
And this whole thing's just been a great experience, getting to know Glasgow more, getting to know me more, getting to know you more.
Even though we are doing a show, it feels like we are changing people. We're helping them to understand.
You know, people have left with a smile on their faces and a lot of questions, and that's the point. We want people to think more. We want people to connect more. The autistic community needs to connect with the neurotypical community. We need to learn to understand each other, I feel.
So this isn't just sort of a performance that starts and ends at a given time. It's an ongoing performance and spirit that continues on in between. And hopefully beyond when the metaphorical curtain comes down on Saturday.
Sometimes to come out and explain what our experiences have been can be very hard. But with this show, I mean, the response that we have gotten for people who have came and seen the show, it's been like, wow.
It was brilliant. Such a different experience to, first of all, be outdoors, go around and see all these wonderful performers just telling you their story.
It was fascinating and surprising, and I don't know that we thought about what we were expecting, but what wonderful characters they all are, and so different and so interesting, really showing the whole range of types of people that have autism.
It's very direct about how autistic people feel and their actual experiences, and it's very good because you don't get that sort of direct. I work with autistic people and you don't often get such direct sort of insights.
It does provide some really interesting insights to ourselves, and with autism, like, some of us might feel a bit isolated and cautious of what we do, but the fact that we've got all these other people who have been through all these problems but have ended up okay in the end, it makes me feel just better about myself, like I am who I am, and I don't think what I do is going to badly affect my future.
The way that they've reflected and then are telling us loads more on top of what Naoki's already said was fantastic, and to be in this environment as well, and for instance over there with the trampoline and talking about nature.
So many of them talked about nature that it actually was much more meaningful to be outdoors. So yes, I think it was a part of the whole experience, and walking about and feeling a bit disorientated was part of it as well. I think that was...
Yeah, the maze, the labyrinth, it all fitted with the whole performance. It's great.
It just makes people feel more in touch with humanity.